Well, good morning, everyone. Hope everybody made it through the blizzard okay. It last week they said it was going to be anywhere from 2 inches to 20 inches, and I think we're right in between. So I think we got about what was expected. So got a lot of stuff to get to today. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And by the way, I apologize for the original email that went out yesterday. I told you to click on the screenshot, and I kept getting people getting back in touch with me saying, hey, I'm clicking, I don't get anything. So I forgot to put the link in. It's what you call user error. Okay. Okay, the name of this meeting, although we're going to cover lots of topics today, is called Opportunity is Hiding in Plain Sight, and Are You Overlooking the Obvious? I ran across something this past actually 2 weeks, and it just kept wearing on me. I thought, man, I need to share this with you. So we'll get into that later on in the meeting. First up, though, we have our two mortgage guys, Dan and James. And I know each one of them has something relating to mortgages. Dan, I'll start off with you.
All right, good morning, everyone. So just wanted to bring everyone up to speed on a recent guideline change, which I think is pretty important, have a great deal of impact on borrowers, potential buyers that were already pre-approved. So obviously during 2020, we had a lot of buyers that were laid off for a period of time. I'll use the example, say someone was laid off for 3 months. So when we were evaluating their income, in many cases, we could exclude the 3 months that they were laid off when we had to take a look at a situation where we were averaging their income. So there's a lot of full-time employees that have what's called variable income. And even though they're full-time employees and they traditionally work like a 40-hour work week, we often find that when we're looking at pay stubs or getting a verification of employment, that it's not always averaging out to exactly 40 hours a week. So if somebody is working 38 hours, 39 hours, 40 hours, it's kind of bouncing all over the place a little bit. That actually is considered variable hours when it comes to calculating income. So every lender needs to average variable income over a 2-year period. So what we were doing in 2020 based on the previous guidelines, where if we look at the 12 months of 2020, if someone was laid off for 3 months, we were taking their entire income and we were able to average it over only the time they were working, so over 9 months. Just within the past week and a half, Fannie Mae announced a change where now that income needs to be averaged over the full 12 months. So essentially what's happening here is that, their total earnings are now spread over 12 months rather than 9 months. So the time that they were not working can no longer be excluded from averaging their income. So for some individuals, this is, has a lot of impact, obviously. And this does impact individuals that are even under contract already and throughout the loan process. This is an immediate change. So this applies to conventional financing at this point in time. We have not seen any formal announcements for FHA, VA, or USDA, but it's very likely they will follow suit any given day. So as soon as we get any additional information on this, we will be more than happy to share it with you. But if you're working with any buyers now that are not under agreement and you are aware that they were laid off for any significant period of time in 2020 due to COVID, you want to make sure that that pre-approval is updated accordingly, because it definitely can impact their qualification and their buying power. If you have any specific questions, obviously reach out to either James or myself. James, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Just wanted to follow up on an email that Dan sent out on Friday pertaining to USDA and some changes that are coming about with their system. So their automated underwriting system, they are updating to a new system come March 1st. Now, we received some communication, last week, obviously, with Dan sending out the email that they would stop reviewing files that were submitted as of the 16th. Now, USDA is kind of unpredictable when it comes to this, so potentially it could go longer and closer to that March 1st date. I don't know why they would stop so early, but this definitely adds a little bit of a layer to USDA loans in general. We're already dealing with turn times for USDA that are 10, 12, 14 days from when they are submitted to USDA for their approval. So we kind of foresee this being another sort of delay with USDA. So it's something, if you have any USDA buyers that are in the process, maybe they're under agreement, definitely need to kind of speed them through underwriting to get them in line so they can be reviewed before the cutoff. Because what we received yesterday is, if it hasn't in their legacy system, if the file has not been reviewed, they very well could go, almost to the back of the line with the new system. It has to be resubmitted. So USDA is a little bit tough right now. We're advising 60 days. 60-day closes right now with USDA until they get this up and running. Hopefully, this will speed up their process. I don't know if it'll have any impact, but hopefully USDA will get back down to a manageable turn time, and then we can get back to the 30 to 45 days for USDA. Is there any questions on that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, obviously, if anybody has any questions for Dan or James on either one of these topics, because it's a fluid situation, things are moving. So get in touch with them to get some clarification. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is Carrie and Sarah with our settlement division.
Good morning, guys. How's everybody? Just wanted to touch on one quick subject. If you have an entity that's a buyer or seller, say corporation, partnership, LLC, we are going to need, any title company will need their EIN number up front. You have to run a corporate tax lien certification on any entity that is a buyer or seller to make sure they have no back taxes due. So that's something that we do need up front as soon as possible. When we're opening the file is typically when they get that lien cert ordered. That can take a few days. So the earlier we have that information, the better. Also, if it's an entity, we will need an operating agreement, partnership agreement. If it's a corporation, the articles of corporation. We need to see who is listed as the members, partners, etc., who's authorized to sign on behalf of the corporation. And then Sarah's going to touch on a couple other details.
Good morning. So in regards to having your buyer or seller be a corporation, not only do we as the title company need everything that Carrie listed, if your buyer, whether it's an individual or corporation, has a lender and the seller happens to be a corporation, they will require a copy of those operating documents, corporate documents, whatever it may be, in order to allow the loan to go to closing. They will not let anything close if there is a seller as a corporation without seeing and reviewing those documents. So the reason it's important to remember that, whether you're the listing agent or the buyer's agent, is you don't want to get down to the last second, a day or two before closing, and not have it turned in, because we won't be able to close. Lenders more recently started doing this just to verify the right parties are signing off and that their files are completed. So it's important to remember how important those documents are and getting them turned in quickly, not only just to us, but any title company you're dealing with, because it would be the same across the board. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Okay, thanks, ladies. If you want clarification, obviously just get back in touch with Carrie or Sarah, and they'd be happy to help you out. Next up is James White with Homesale Insurance. James?
Yep. Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to quickly discuss flood insurance there. I've had about 5 or 6 questions this year, and that's more than I've had in the past year and a half, 2 years I've been here. So, yeah, the first question that I've been commonly asked was about who determines whether the flood insurance is needed, and that would be the lender, basically. So I've had that question a couple times this year, and the high-risk flood zones, maybe you want to jot this down, would be the ones that are listed from A to AE and V. V is in Victor. And my agency would allow me to quote if you are actually under agreement for contract on the home sale for flood insurance. So those are just 3 quick things that I wanted to let you know that I've had discussions with about 4 or 5 realtors so far this year. And if you have any questions on it, just let me know.
Thank you, James.
Can I add something to that quickly?
Yeah, please do.
So it's really not the lender that determines that, it's FEMA. So like, in other words, if it's in a flood zone, it doesn't really matter who the lender is. Flood insurance going to be required because it's a federal law. So it's not really the lender's determination. It's the flood zone's determination that dictates that.
Mhm.
So just wanted to make sure that, everyone was aware of that.
Okay.
So that's all.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next up, Dan's not aware that I was going to do this, but congratulations, Dan. He achieved the honor of Chairman's Club in 2020. And I also have to mention, we're extremely fortunate to have both Dan and James in-house here with us. With Town Bank, the way they operate, right now they have about 240 loan officers spread across a lot of different types of companies, Homesale being one of them. Dan is the #1 person in their performance scorecard. Now, this takes into consideration some quantitative things, such as how much production Dan does, in addition to his qualitative metrics, how well the file's put together. And I'm not going to bore you with all the things. Terry tried to share that with me yesterday. I said, Terry, just stop. I'm not going to get all this, but suffice it to say that Dan is doing a marvelous job for us. We're really extremely happy to have him in-house here. And once again, James has only been with us for a very short period of time. And once again, he is in the top 50% of that 240 loan officers. So gentlemen, thank you very much for all the work that you're doing for us. We really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Joining us next, we have one of our VIP service people with us, ServPro of Lancaster East and also Southern Lancaster County. Phil Metzler, who I've been communicating with, is on the call. I know Phil has an individual with him that he would like to introduce and basically just tell us a little bit about their service. So Phil, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, Tom, and everybody else that's on this Zoom meeting. Good morning. Most people don't like to talk to me because usually if they're talking to me, they have some sort of restoration need, some sort of emergency where they have water in the house or they have smoke or they have fire. But I brought along my co-worker. His name is Jason. And Jason is actually the VP of cleaning services with ServPro. And he can give you a lot more information about everyday needs that you may run into contact with as a realtor.
Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're all dug out from the snowstorm. So yeah, as Phil was saying, everybody knows ServPro for fire, water, mold restoration. But I run a division that actually takes care of your everyday needs, as in carpet cleaning, general turnover cleaning, which those of you who run the management side as far as property management might be interested in that. We also do duct cleaning, dryer vent cleaning for fire prevention. So we kind of run the gamut, anything from, you know, a fire all the way down to a stain on your carpet. So just figured it might be something you guys would be interested in and keep in mind.
Yeah, thanks, Phil and Jason. And Phil was kind enough to forward on to me a 4-page pricing sheet, which I have stored on my computer. And when I put out this video and the slides for the meeting, I'm also going to include that. So Phil, thanks for forwarding that on to me. And as you can see here, if you hop on their individual website having to do with their company, both Google and Facebook, their reviews are just top notch. So we're dealing with some really good quality people with our VIP services. Gentlemen, thanks for being here this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you all very much too. And we just, we sold one of our houses inside the city with one of your realtors too. So thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks for using us. We appreciate it.
Yep, thanks a lot.
We have Alicia Motter, who's joining us. She is VP of Business Development and Relocation. She wanted to do just a bit of a recap on what happened last year and also some things that you can take advantage of as a real estate agent with referrals. So I did see her on the call earlier. I'm going to turn it over to Alicia.
Thanks, Tom. Hello, everybody. Miss seeing you in person, but great to be here. You can see some of our stats from 2020, which we once again hit some records, and thank everybody for their help and support in doing that. I especially want to give a shout out to this North Pointe office because you guys hit 119% of your outbound referral goal. So great job. Your goal was 121 and we had 144 outbound or inter-office referrals from this office. So outstanding job. Keep up the great work. In 2020, we had over 390 outbound and inter-office referrals settle, with our agents receiving a total of over $673,000. And it ended up being about $1,700 as the average for a closed outbound referral. So don't forget to look for those opportunities. You know, they are very simple. We have a great link on Homesale Center that you can use to submit an outbound referral, the outgoing referrals form. All you need to do is go in there, put some information in, and you can add notes. Tell us if there's an agent that you'd like to refer it to. Give us any information that you feel is pertinent. We're going to place it for you. And if we have additional questions, we'll reach out to you before doing that. We also have agents that like to talk to the agent prior to them contacting the customer, and that's absolutely fine. Just make a note of that, and we will make sure that the agent gets in touch with you first. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was incoming referrals that you receive directly. We all know the sources for incoming business are just multiplying daily. We have so many different sources that we work with in our office, but there are a lot of sources that work directly with our agents, and that's fine. One of the things that's really important for us to do, though, is register any customer that you've agreed to pay a referral for. It doesn't cost you anything at all. You're going to be paid at your normal split, but it gives us the opportunity to put that information into our system and make sure that we don't have a duplicate referral situation. Part of our responsibility is working hand in hand with the accounting department to make sure that we have all the proper documentation in place to pay a referral fee. So that includes a W-9. It includes a referral agreement and the full information on the receiving broker. So please use the form that's right next to the outgoing referral form, and it's the incoming referral direct referral registration form. And again, you can enter the information, All you need to do is give us an idea of what the referral fee is and who we're paying it to. And if you can send us documents to support all that, that's even better. That's icing on the cake. Again, it doesn't impact you at all, but it helps the company and it helps us to process these referrals in a timely manner. When we find out about a referral at the last minute, we have a lot of jumping through hoops to do to get that documentation. So please, when you receive a referral from an outside source, use that form and register it with us so that we can make sure we're only paying one referral fee to a referring source.
Thanks, Alicia. Appreciate the input. And as always, I mean, just you've done a phenomenal job last year. Thanks for you and your team for all that you do for us. Appreciate it.
Happy to help.
Next up, I saw Colleen on the call earlier. Colleen, do you want to tell us a little bit about the book club?
Good morning, guys. Great to see everybody on here. Yes, we are going to start another book club. Thinking of the second Tuesday of the month at 10 o'clock, we're going to start via Zoom and hopefully work towards in person, but don't want to wait any longer to get this started. I did have a book in mind, and then with the kickoff, when they announced the Ninja Selling, I did pick up that book and started reading it and thought maybe that would be a good one. So stay tuned on what book it will be. I will send an email out. You guys can respond who's going to be participating. I can get you a link for it and give you plenty of time to get the book. So I hope to see a good group join us and share your thoughts.
I know last year, I know last year I sat in on one of the book club meetings, and there were probably, I don't know, 6 to 8 people there. It was really good as far as sharing of ideas. So I encourage anybody that has interest in this to get in touch with Colleen for more details. Along the lines with some of the things that we're doing here as a company, Homesale Career Development literally on a monthly basis has a number of different webinars that they put out to you. There's usually an email that goes out to the agent population at the beginning of every month. One went out on February 1st, which was just a couple of days ago. Here are some of the topics that are going to be at upcoming Zoom sessions. Understanding your clients. Basically, what's going to happen there is they're going to take the DISC survey, which many of you have taken and are aware of, and how you can use that while you're helping your clients sell their houses and secure properties for them. Also, Facebook business and Instagram. Many of you have indicated, hey, I'd like to get on this, but I don't really know where to start. It'd be a great opportunity here. Short sales and foreclosures. I do understand there's not as many of these as there once was. But if you're unfamiliar with the process, it is totally different than a quote unquote normal transaction. So it's something you may want to get under your belt. And then finally, every once in a while, somebody comes to me and says, hey, I got this mobile home I need to sell, or a client of mine wants to sell. I've never sold one of these before. What do I do? Where do I start? Are the forms the same? There's going to be a Zoom session with this also. So refer back to that email that you got on February 1st. You'll find links, more information regarding each session. And also wanted to tell you, as of about, I think it's 2 weeks ago, we do have a new Cinch Home Services rep. Jonathan Stroud is still with the company. He's actually moved up within the company. He's no longer going to be our individual rep in our region. Our new individual's name is Desmond George, and I've interacted with him 2 or 3 times via voicemail at this point in time. Have not had the pleasure to talk to him, but he sounds like he's from England. He has a very interesting accent, very prim and proper. So in the future, we're going to have, I'm sure, Desmond on one of our Zoom calls just to tell you a little bit about himself and any kind of changes that are taking place with Zoom Home Services, or excuse me, with Cinch Home Services. And in case you aren't aware, we are now in the new Bright MLS called Bright Workspaces. It converted over a day or two ago. As far as you're concerned, it's going to have a different look on the surface. This is a screenshot of what the surface or what the homepage looks like, a little bit different. Information is still basically the same. By the way, you're still using the same username and password. If you had things set up in Bright in the past, all those things have migrated over to the new Bright Works spaces. So, you know, if you haven't been in Bright in a day or two, this is going to look a little different to you. They do have some links on Bright that will take you to, and I think one of them is right here. It says take a tour. You can take a tour where you can literally spend about 5 minutes and it just kind of walks you around the dashboard, lets you know where things are, what's new, what's changed, that type of thing. But I did want everybody to be aware of that. And I told you yesterday in the preview call, I did the market share for 2020 for Lancaster County for all real estate companies. The top 10 real estate companies in Lancaster County are here, and they are ranked by dollar volume. I have, as you see, 1 through 10. We are at the top, and here is the unveiling. We have just done, and you guys are a big, huge part of this, just a phenomenal job this past year in the pandemic shutdown, how you guys work through all the different things that we gave you to do. We told you one day that you could do this, and then the next week we said, nope, you can't do that anymore. You guys just rolled with the punches and just did a phenomenal job. To put these type of numbers up in Lancaster County is just amazing. So I tip my hat to everybody. What you see right here, this graphic is actually already hanging around our office on some bulletin boards, but I will produce this for you in PDF format and also JPEG and PNG format, so you can post it on social media and you can use it in your listing presentation. So congratulations to everybody. Some people, many of you may have heard of the Teambuilder program, but I don't know if a lot of people really get what Teambuilder is. So I thought I'd spend a moment here and just talk about Teambuilder, how you can benefit and profit from it as an agent who is with Homesale. It is designed for an agent and actually for staff people too. So staff people can get involved with this for long-term residual revenue opportunities based upon what the person that you help us bring on to our office and our company. It's, you know, I think a lot of people have heard and maybe have seen and looked at the KW, you know, pipeline where they say, oh, you can recruit all these people and you get this and you get that. Teambuilder, to be perfectly frank, just blows this program away. And it's not, we don't go out there and publicly put it in front of everybody, but it is worthwhile. I'm going to get into some numbers in a second here. The main difference between this and the KW program is if the office is not profitable with KW, it doesn't matter who you brought on, KW is not going to pay out any kind of dividends or profit to you. This program is a little different. Has nothing to do with profitability of the office, has everything to do with the agent that you would help bring on. So how do you participate in this? Well, all you've got to do is fill out a form, and I'll show you the form in a second. Fill out a form. Let's say you meet a co-op agent at the settlement table. They've expressed some interest either in our company or how do you like our office, or they may be saying to you, I'm not really happy with where I am. All you have to do is just mention to them, hey, do you mind if I have my office manager give you a call? And if they agree to that call and I secure the appointment, it qualifies as a team builder. So what is Teambuilder and how do you figure it out? I'm not going to get into a big math program here today, but I am going to do some basic stuff. First of all, you earn 1% of the agent's closed gross commission income, which is called GCI, as long as both of you remain affiliated with Homesale. A lot of people look at this, and I know myself, I'm used to dealing with the term GCI all the time, and I throw it around. And I'll tell you this, every once in a while, an agent will say, Tom, slow down. What the heck is GCI? GCI is the amount of commission Homesale receives from a client on the completion of a sale. So for instance, if you sell an average home in Lancaster County, and our average price is plus or minus about 260 right now, $260,000, and 3%, which is the co-op portion of the split, comes to Homesale, $7,800 is the GCI. It's before all the other things are taken off of that. So GCI is how much the company actually receives. Then, how much can you actually make as an agent? Well, if you recruited or helped to recruit somebody who is a $3 million producer, and by the way, this is for the life of both of you while you are with the office or with the company, I should say. So if you recruit a $3 million producer, and let's just say, because you're going to sell some new construction, some resale, the average co-op commission is going to be about 2.85%. If you multiply 3 million times 2.85% and then multiply it times that 1% that I told you about, during the course of the year, you can make $855. Now just think about this. If you recruit 2 or 3 or 4 agents to the company and they remain with the company for quite a lengthy period of time, you can get some pretty nice pocket change at the end of the year. And by the way, there is some additional bonuses that you could earn based upon the person's first year production. I'm not going to get into that now because it gets a little technical, but it's more in addition to what you see here of the $855. And by the way, this is available for veterans, people who are with other companies, or let's say you have a good friend who is thinking about getting into a real estate business. Forward them on to me as a team builder. Well, how do you register somebody? Here's the form. And by the way, I am going to put out with today's meeting and with the slides, I am going to put a Teambuilder PDF application in there. So everybody's going to have a copy. All you have to do is just fill in some basic information, forward it on to me as your office manager. I'll make that call. And once again, if I secure the appointment and the person ultimately comes here, you would be eligible for Teambuilder compensation. And oh, by the way, I got 2 Teambuilder checks right here for some agents in North Pointe, which I'm going to be handing out this afternoon. So just a way to supplement your regular commission income and help also grow the company. So another thing that I have been seeing and hearing a lot of lately, especially with what's happening in the marketplace, is this thing called love letters. I want to thank Lisa Naples for bringing this to my attention. It's kind of been in my sales meeting folder file. I keep a whole bunch of topics in there, and it was in there. I just kind of forgot about it. But over the last week or two, I've been seeing more and more of this. And by the way, there's some interesting articles that are being circulated throughout the country on blog posts, on various websites that are talking about, hey, I'm not so sure you should be doing these love letters anymore. And I'm going to get into some specifics here as to what you should and should not do. So here's some things that I typically see in these love letters. And by the way, I'm not saying that when I was selling real estate back in the day, 10, 15 years ago, I was using these. I think everybody's used these from time to time. But as things change in our industry, there are some things you need to be aware of. So here's something. Our kids will love the backyard. We look forward to walking to church from your house. We're newlyweds, and your house will be a perfect place to start our family. I will tell you, there are problems with each one of those sentences. And I know you may be looking at this and saying, Tom, you're going off the politically correct deep end. I'm telling you, this stuff is getting more and more play in the marketplace. There's more and more of these letters being thrown around. And when people are losing out on houses when they wrote one of these, or even if they get the house, there are other people that are looking at these situations and going, hey, why did they take that offer over mine? And it ends up being a fair housing issue. So what are these things? A real estate love letters basically used to entice the seller to take a look at your offer, maybe a little closer than just all the facts and figures that are within the offer. Now, the issue that you may have in these letters, and by the way, I have seen the following also. I've seen people put pictures of their family, pictures of their dogs. I've seen all kinds of things. But you need to be aware that if you put some of these characteristics in the letter or you put them in pictures, they could reveal people's race, religion, age, familial status. These could be issues if we end up in a tense negotiating situation. Sellers may use this information either knowingly or through their unconscious bias as a way to accept an agreement that could come back to bite them at a point in the future. So what should you do? And I know people in this office, they've come to me and say, hey, I got this offer because I wrote, or my client wrote this beautiful love letter and, it got them the house because, the seller liked this person because of this, or that person because of that. You need to talk with your sellers as you're taking the listing right up front. Talk with them about the issues of reading buyer love letters. Get buy-in information, get buy-in from your seller about rejecting these love letters that a company offers. Well, it's great to know who's trying to buy your house. The more you read these things, once again, this unconscious bias creeps into a lot of sellers' minds, and you can't take it back. You need to focus on the merits of the offer only, such as the price and terms, the likeliness that this property is going to get to the settlement table, and also the financial condition of the buyer. These letters are being scrutinized, so be very, very careful in how you use them. Stay away from race, creed, those type of things, because you start going down that road and you're just asking for trouble. So a word to the wise. And finally, I'm going to talk and finish up this meeting by talking about something that I have seen as a trend literally over the last, I would say 30 to 45 days that I've looked at, and I thought was really, really interesting. You as an agent you're selling real estate, you're working with buyers, and I know it's probably one of the toughest times I've ever seen since I've been in the real estate industry, where you as an agent are frustrated with your buyer's plight and what they're going through to try to get into a property. Not only that, but I am seeing a lot of buyers and agents walking into my office with mask on, walking into my office and saying things like, hey, my buyer is pissed at me. This is the 5th offer that we've lost out. They're now starting to focus on me, thinking that I'm the problem instead of the market in which we're in right now. I'm going to share something here with you that I think, well, it's right out in front of you, but I think you need to take a second look at it and maybe discuss it with your buyers right up front versus maybe as a last resort. So I did a little homework, and as everybody knows in this office, I'm a stats guy. So February 2nd, The total number of residential listings in Lancaster County, 436. Now that is a small number, and it continues, to be perfectly frank, to get down a little bit. So I've been reading things on a nationwide basis on, what other parts of the country are experiencing. Hey, we're all in this together. Everybody is experiencing a shortage of inventory right now. But the one area that you need to take a second look at is the following. Of those 436 residential listings, 169 are new construction. Think about that. That is almost 4 out of every 10 listings out there is new construction. And oh, by the way, that is on the rise. So I'm going to talk a little bit about here new construction and how it would benefit you as a buyer's agent instead of dealing with this and mixing it in with resales as you're showing this to your people, to your buyer clients, is maybe talk a little bit more about this seriously up front, because that 169 number is moving in that direction. Okay. Now, a lot of people have said also, hey, I'm looking at all this stuff in the computer and, it's out of my buyer's price range, all this new construction. I will say this. I also looked at the median price range of new construction in Lancaster County. This is the median price, which means half of the new construction prices and homes are less than $400,000. So $400,000 is nothing to sneeze at, but I think there's this misnomer out there in the marketplace amongst agents and everybody else that, hey, all this new construction that's hitting the market, everything's over $500,000 and it doesn't apply to my buyer. That is just not true. So I'm going to do a little bit of a deeper dive here. I'm going to show you a chart. This is building permits from 1960 through 2020. Now, take a second just to take this chart in as a whole. The blue shaded lines that are going vertically, those are recessionary periods of time. So if you see back in 1960, there was a recession there, 1971 there was, 1974, so on and so forth. And you see in 2020, we're just coming out of a recession now. What I want everybody to take a look at is look immediately to the right of that light blue recession line. At every recession, coming out of a recession, what happened to building permits? They skyrocketed. They went up and up and up in every single example from 1960 to today. And we are coming out of a recession. And I'm telling you right now, our building permits, not only on a nationwide level, but in Lancaster County, are going through the roof. Here's some numbers. This is nationwide. Permits in December were up over November, 4.5%. As it relates to last December, December 2019, we are up 17.3% in building permits. Think about that. That's almost 20% more building permits than were issued last year at this time. And that number is only going to go up. So I would highly encourage you, and I'm going to share some things that you can share with buyers here. I would highly encourage you, take a closer look at new construction and what it has to offer. And I'm going to deal with some objections that you get from buyers. And I'm also going to deal with some objections that I get from, with some agents who say, I don't want to get involved with new construction. It's this, this, or this. So here's what I'd say. Very first thing is sit down with your buyer clients today and have a nose-to-nose conversation with them about the market. And let them know not only what you've experienced with buyers, but also what other agents in your office and across our company and across our county are experiencing. Let them know that more than likely, if a new property comes on the market, new resale property comes on the market, and it's well priced, in good condition, there's going to be 30, 40 showings in the first 2 days. And more than likely, you're going to be competing with 10, 15, 20 other agreements for that house. That you need to have that conversation on day one before you take your buyer out and let them know. Now is the time to have that discussion with them about new construction, because new construction, by and large, is a different animal than a resale property. Okay. So here are some reasons why people shy away from new construction. And some of these things that I'm going to review with you are coming from your buyers, and some are coming from you as agents, where you are thinking, do I really want to go down this road with my buyer? And by the way, I have probably, I don't know how many things are on, maybe 7 or 8 different things as to why people shy away. I'm sure this is not a comprehensive list. I know I pared down this list just to get it on the screen because there's a lot more than this. But I think you need to learn as an agent how to overcome these objections. So here's one I hear all the time. You know, it just takes too freaking long to build a house from scratch. Well, I'm going to share with you right now, all of you that are on this call, how many of you have been working with a buyer now for 6 months, for 9 months, some of you for a year, and you haven't been able to get them into a property? You think you could build something in that period of time? I know it seems like a big number as far as the number of months up front, but once again, if you do the education up front with your buyers about what kind of market we're in, new construction is a viable alternative. And guess what? You're not competing with 1,000 other people. There's not 20 offers usually on a property that you're building from scratch. So think about that. You don't want to move twice. I hear this all the time. Well, you know, it's going to take 6, 7 months to build my house. You know, I can't do this timing thing perfectly. You know, I want to put my home on the market. And Tom, you're telling me that if I put it on the market and I price it right, it's going to sell. And now I've sold my home inside of 60 days, which is 2 months. And I got another 4 months to wait until my home is done. I'm telling you right now, yes, that's exactly what is going to happen. Forget trying to time it perfectly, because it's only going to cause you heartburn. If you discuss this up front with your buyers and say, listen, if you want to get the home of your dreams and get something and be guaranteed that you're going to be moved into it and not have to worry about all this competition, yep, you're going to have to get into the mode right now that you're going to put your home in the market. You're going to sell it in 60 to 90 days, and you may have to have some interim short-term housing for a little while. I know it's a little bit of an inconvenience, but in the long run, I got to tell you, if you lose out on 5, 10 agreements, you tell me what kind of inconvenience that is. By the way, from a personal standpoint, I've owned 4 homes in my lifetime. Every single one was new construction. Every single one. Every single one was built from scratch. I put my home on the market the day, my present home on the market, the day that I signed the agreement on new construction. And because I priced it right, I wasn't an unreasonable seller, I sold it and had it under agreement within 30 days. Usually I was settling on the property in 60 to 90 days, moved into an apartment every single time. But you know what? I had the security and knowledge that I had a big fat check in my back pocket, and I didn't have to worry about anything. My home was going to be ready in a couple of months. I had no problem with it. Now, it's not for everybody, but I'm telling you, you go through multiple times with a buyer losing out on agreements because they're in all this competition. This is an attractive option. It's too expensive. I just shared with you a slide ago. The median price of new construction is under $400,000. Once again, there's a misnomer out there in the marketplace that everything that's being built today is just too expensive and my typical buyer can't afford it. Not necessarily true. Take a good look at it. And oh, by the way, as you're looking at these, and I told you there's 169 listings presently in the MLS. If you look in the agent remarks of a lot of these, it'll say, this is the so-and-so model to be built on this home. We have other lots available. See the agent for details. So that 169 is that much. There's actually that much out there. There's more that's not even in the MLS that all you have to do is just talk to the listing agent, and they're gonna probably share with you some things that are additionally on the market or will be soon. People, both agents and buyers, are unfamiliar with the process. It's kind of out of your comfort zone. And I will say this, I teach a continuing ed course on new construction, so I know this myself personally. But you need to understand that most listing agents have been associated with a builder for a while. And while you may not know new construction, the listing agent will in most cases, and they will guide you through the process. And oh, by the way, go into it saying, listen, I haven't done too many new constructions. So I'd appreciate, if I ask you some questions about this, fill in the blanks for me. I'd like to learn more. Most listing agents that I know will have no problem with that. So don't concern yourself that you're unfamiliar with the process. Lean a little bit on the listing agent. That's what they're there for. A lot of buyers, they can't touch and they can't feel the product. They want to go through a home and they want to open up cabinets and doors and things like that. Once again, after we wipe the doorknobs, they want to do all those things. I get it. And a lot of people can't see beyond, to be perfectly frank, can't see beyond their nose. I know with how long I was working in new construction, I could take a look at a blueprint and I could kind of see in 3D. Most people aren't like that. It takes a while. It takes patience on your behalf, and understand what your buyer's going through, that they are putting a lot of confidence, not only in the builder, but you as their agent. Take your time. Don't worry about it. And by the way, a lot of these can't touch and feel type of things, that's where builder showrooms are for. That's where you go on out and you can actually get involved, and it's kind of fun to pick out all these things. My friend had a nightmare when they built their house. I will say this, and I deal with this in my continuing education class all the time when I deal with new construction. The biggest problem that I see with this right here, where somebody says that I had a nightmare, is their expectation levels aren't matching what the builders are, or vice versa. So they're going in there thinking they're going to get a perfect product, which I've never seen a home built perfectly. It's just the way it is. Now, having said that, builders, by and large, back up their products. Builders are not in the habit of selling something to somebody and then walking away. And as you saw with one of our ServPro vendors earlier on, who has 4.9 ratings on Facebook and Google, the builders don't want to have Facebook and Google ratings that are 1 and 2 stars. By and large, they want to take care of things. But you, as an agent who's working with a buyer, you need to understand it's a long process. It takes some time to go through it. There's going to be ups and downs, but that's what you're there for. You're there as kind of like the buffer, so that you can talk to your buyer, then talk to either the other agent or the builder to help resolve issues or things that, once again, maybe the expectation levels are a little bit off. It's your job as the agent to make sure that they align. Okay. So the ultimate goal at the end of the day is to have great, happy clients. I'm telling you, and you guys have experienced it because I've heard it, both myself and Colleen have heard this from you. Gosh, I just went through another multiple offer situation and my buyer lost again. They are so frustrated. They don't know what to do. Consider new construction. There's a lot less, at least up front, there's a lot less stress in that you can sit down, take your time, hammer out the details, and then you as the agent work with your clients over the building process, keeping the expectation levels the same. And at the end, because you've spent literally 6 to 9 months with these people, walking through the whole process with them, I will tell you, you will have a stronger client relationship with them than you will in a resale transaction. So just a word to the wise, a thought for you, consider new construction. And I'll leave you on this note. Your big opportunity may be right where you are right now. That comes from the infamous and famous Napoleon Hill. A lot of agents are looking around saying, gosh, this market is so difficult at this point in time, especially working with buyers. Once again, I think there's an opportunity out there for agents that see it right now in new construction. Get involved with it, learn it. You're going to open up brand new doors to the clients that you work with. Hey, do me a favor before we get off of this call, and I'll leave this up for a little bit. One of the things that I mentioned earlier here today was, hey, sell your house, move into interim housing for a short period of time. If anybody on this call or after the call, excuse me, if you would either text, email, or drop in the chat box here, any facility or place that you have dealt with that will allow interim short-term housing, that would be beneficial, because we can publish that list to everybody in the office. And that way, if you get involved with a new construction where you can't line up the dates and somebody needs interim housing for, let's say, 2 to 3 months, you have a whole menu of things that you can go to. So if you would pop anything in the chat box, email myself or Colleen or text us, and we'll get it out to the group. That way you have some additional bullets in your holster and some ammo that you can use with your clients. Hey, thanks everybody. I appreciate everybody's attention today, and have a great week. Take care.
Thanks, Tom.
Mm-hmm.